Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Nile Gerry Tea Podcast, a podcast where we spill the tea about Magic the Gathering. I am your host, Nile Joan Rivers, and so is my friend Jer Bear, aka Jerry Thompson. How you doing, Jerry?
AKA Malebag.
AKA Male, M-A-L-E, bag. This is the mailbag episode.
Yeah, I'm good. I just sent you a picture of a cat on my lap.
Oh, so you did.
You can't see her currently, but
you can't see her currently. And I am certainly not going to edit her in. So sorry, everybody.
Yeah, it's podcasting time. And
it's podcasting
that means
time.
it's pure as nap time.
Mitzi is also on my lap presently. So it's, they know where they belong.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
ready.
You might see her. No, she's cozy. So yeah, this week we are going to be answering a bunch of questions. Basically, the whole episode is going to be us answering questions because we routinely ask for questions, and everyone's very good about sending us questions. Shout out Briar. And because Briar sends us questions so consistently, which we love, by the way, backbone of this whole show. But because Briar sends us questions so consistently, and because we are yappers, and typically by the time we get to the questions, we really only have time for one, and there's no chance in hell we're missing the Briar question. We often just kind of put questions on the back burner. And so we're going to go through a bunch of those questions today. And that's going to be what we do. So excited to hear the questions. Well, to be transparent, I've read all the questions. Jerry, I don't think has seen a single one of them because most of them come to my email and I don't tell him until we're live. So that way, he has to think on his feet about answers, and I get to think over time about my answers, and it levels the playing field. Jerry, this is unrelated, but you're going to be thrilled to know that I have become addicted to a gacha game on my phone.
Is it Love in Deep Space?
No, it's Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade.
Oh no.
Here's how they got me. Okay. My favorite JJK character, her name is Mai Zenin. Mai is nobody's favorite JJK character because she's barely in JJK. But her superpower is gun, which I think is awesome. She has a revolver. She's so cool.
She's just good at it?
So technically her superpower is construction. So she can create something out of nothing. But it takes an insane amount of effort and cursed energy or whatever to make something out of nothing. So really all she can do is make one bullet per day out of nothing. So what she does to maximize the effectiveness of this is, one, she is just very good with a gun. But two, she very intentionally uses a revolver as her gun of choice. So that way, while she's fighting someone, they will be keeping track of how many bullets she's shot. And then once she's fired her sixth bullet, they're like, she's out of bullets. I can attack now. And then she'll make a bullet in the chamber, fire it, and fucking kill him. It's so sick. It's so sick. I love her so much. But the downside of your favorite character being a non-main character is it's hard to get anything that has to do with Mai, because JJK's got 6 main characters and Mai is nowhere close to any of them. So I get JJK Phantom Parade on my phone, and I'm looking at the gachas, and I'm looking at the details of every gacha and the drop rates of every gacha to be like, where's Mai? A bunch of the gachas have SR ranked Mai's. Only one gacha has an SSR ranked Mai. And this gacha can only be pulled one time and has to be pulled within 72 hours of you getting the game. It's the only way out of all the gachas that are currently available on Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade. This is the only one that has the SSR Mai. This is the only fucking way to get her.
Weird.
You get to pull it one time, and I think she was something like a fucking 6% chance for that to be what you get from it. I pulled it. I got her on my one pull, and the second I got her, I was like, "Oh well,
I guess I'm
you got
in.
me. You got me." So now I have a level 101 Mai Zenin on my Jujutsu Kaisen gacha game. I am so obsessed with this game. It plays itself because you just set everything. You set it to auto all the time. It's so sick, dude. I so get it. I so get gacha games now. I'm so hooked. In fact, Pause Warriors, I got a big one for you today. In the description of this video, I'm going to put my Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade invite code. You're going to go pause the video, download Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade on your phone or tablet. You're going to put in my invite code, and then you're going to clear all the main story missions to maximize the amount of reward that you give me. This should just take you a few days. Then unpause the video, resume the podcast.
Wow. Well, send me the code.
Welcome back, Pause Warriors. Oh, I will. I will right now. I love it. I love it to death. I can't stop playing it. It's altered my life. Hold on, I have to keep going because I keep texting it to people. So I just look in different text conversations for the most recent, sending.
Well, Mai's English voice actor shares a character with. She does the same voice of a different character that I like in a different game.
Who is it? Who is it?
I will send you a picture.
Okay. Also, who's the English voice actor for my
Laura Post?
Laura Post. I just see a picture of Cat.
This is great because now I get to actually check out this game, see which game it is that they ripped off, and then give you better versions of those games.
Here's the thing about that, Jerry. I know myself, and I know a big part of why I'm obsessed with this game is because it's JJK and because I have Mai. And so
I get it.
If you show me a better version that isn't those two things, that's going to be a tough sell. But
yeah, but you get it.
But I think at this point, that is the thing. I do get it now. And I understand the insidious nature of how easy it is to spend money on gacha games.
Yeah, you've not spent a dime yet, correct?
Oh, buddy.
Oh, shit.
Here's the thing. That gacha that I pulled that had you could only access with paid cubes. So, it was really I was really putting all my eggs in the basket.
Oh my god!
But I got it.
Is this a new game?
No, it's like a year old. I don't know why I never played it. I think I was just like, I ain't gacha game, not for me. The reason I downloaded it now is because I'm anxiously awaiting the Haikyuu game, which I think is like a card game that comes out in like a week.
Huh.
Actually, at the time of this releasing, this podcast, this episode will actually be the day that the Haikyuu game comes out. So if you're listening to this, Pause Warriors, pause the video. If Haikyuu has an invite code, you're also going to find that in the description below. So go ahead and download the Haikyuu game, put in my invite code, do all the main story missions to maximize my reward, and then come back to the video. That should just take an additional week or two. Welcome back, Pause Warriors. I love them. I love gacha games.
Yep, same. Love them.
I get it.
Them.
I get it, Jerry. My third eye has been opened. All right, are you ready to get into some questies?
Well, yeah, but now I'm looking up all the stuff about this game.
What are you learning? Tell me.
Well, first I was looking for a random garbage tier list on the internet to see where Mai was, but
Oh, where is Mai? Because she's actually kind of cracked. She shoots everybody at once.
I'm not seeing her. But it's
That's because
difficult
no one fucking respects Mai. This is what I'm telling you.
Okay, she's the second tier.
Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade tier list.
Yeah, I mean, none of these tier lists are real.
Yeah, of course. People don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, this is just character I like dot tier list. You can't convince me otherwise. Where are you putting Mai? 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 Where are you putting in A tier? In A tier. You're putting my last shot Zenin under her twin sister, Maki. You're putting her under fucking Itadori. You're putting her under every instance of Itadori. You're putting her under gold Junpei. You're putting her under SR Nanami. You're putting her under a silver. Wait, do I need to be on this? Is this real? Oh, look at that later. If this fucking uncommon Inumaki is actually, I've gotten to the point now where I've said so many words that mean nothing to 99% of our listeners.
SSR means super, super rare.
Oh,
just so people understand.
Yeah, so you can imagine then what SR means, just super rare, which doesn't even sound cool when you know super, super rare exists.
Yeah.
And rare,
it basically means common.
Yeah, basically means common. And anything less than a rare, I mean, it's what's really crazy about these games to me is like, so if I open a digital magic pack and I get a rare, I get 2 rares. I'm like, yippee, 2 rares. But the gacha games really make it to where the only fucking thing you care about are the mythics. Like, rares just do not stimulate your brain at all. They feel the same as commons. That's what's so crazy, is like, you open an SR and it's like, oh, that might as well have been nothing. That might as well have been literally nothing.
Yeah, wait until you play the game for 5 years and you're like, oh, my 100th copy of this character.
Yeah. Well, those turn into soul shards, and you use the soul shards to turn into other currencies, which you then use.
Yeah, but like at a really dog shit rate.
Oh yeah, really dog shit rate. But you do it. That's the other thing, is so many times that I've observed these games, I've been like, there's just like 100 currencies. It's impossible to keep up with. And now I'm like, I'm so in it that I'm just like, I know exactly what all the currencies are, where they come from, where they go, and I know how to utilize them to maximize my Zenin level. And she's just always my strongest character. So that way, when I click the auto build my team for me on a mission, she's always in it.
Yeah.
It's good.
This is a good day for me.
I knew you'd be thrilled. That's why I waited until we were recording to tell you. I knew it would be.
It's so bad though, because I'm downloading the game right now.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love that.
They've downloaded already.
Have you seen a moment of Jujutsu Kaisen?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a minute.
Sure. Okay.
I saw the 2 seasons. I haven't read anything.
Sure. Did you watch the movie, JJK Zero?
That was in between, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that.
JJK Zero goes kind of crazy.
It was like the backstory.
Yeah. It's a prequel. It's kind of confusing because like there's season 1, which is good, but I don't think great. And then there's JJK Zero, which I do think is great, but is a prequel. And then season 2 starts, which I think is 10 out of 10 excellent. And it starts with a prequel that is even like predates JJK Zero. and then the second half of season 2 catches back up. So like I was trying to explain the timeline to a friend recently, and I was like, okay, yes, so the first part of season 2, and then the movie JJK 0, and then season 1, and then the second half of season 2. And it's just such a, and there's a reason you don't watch it in chronological order. But
yeah.
Anyways, that's enough JJK.
I hope some of these
talk.
questions are about JJK.
Oh, they're none of them about people. Okay, so I've been off social media for like 2 weeks now, which first of all has been awesome. It has felt like I have removed a toxin from my brain.
I can't tell if you're high on gacha games or if
it's both,
the social media cleanse has been good for you. But
I think it's both.
It's both.
I think it's mostly the gacha game, to be quite real with you. But
yeah.
But being off social media, it truly feels like I was poisoned, and now I am like healing from being poisoned. But posting is in my blood. So what I've been doing is I have this text file on my phone called shitiwouldhaveposted.com. And it's just every post I would have made over the last 2 weeks. Instead of posting it, I just type it in here. Sometimes I'll send it to a friend. Sometimes I'll screenshot it and send it to somebody. But mostly, a lot of these, just for me, this whole like page and a half is just, I went on a JJK posting bender. And oh man, people would have hated it. People hate it when I JJK post. So it's really great to just be able to do that just for me. Just for me. No one has to hate it because I love it. But there's just like 10 posts in a row where I make some variation of a joke on like women only want one thing, and it's my level 101 Mai Zenin from Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade. And I like spell out Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade on all 10 of them. Yeah. And I think it's so funny. And I would have fired off 10 of these in like 5 minutes, and I would have been unfollowed by 1,000 people.
Is the danger that like you go on to post and then you fall into the trap of scrolling the timeline?
Scrolling my own timeline? Oh, I see what you're saying. Is like you're asking
like
why
you can just log on, post, and log off in theory.
Yeah. So the problem, I think for me right now, what I really want is to just feel a little invisible. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's hard to do when like, because even if I go
making a podcast and putting it on YouTube and
yeah. Well, I haven't really even been engaging with that, you know? Like people have commented on our last video. I just replied to one before we started recording, but for the most part, I have not really been up in there. But you know, it's even when I was online, when I was at my peak of being online, aka like 3 months ago, you know, I basically lived in the notification tab. You know, like I would post, and mostly like my posts, I would just like fire them and forget them. Yeah. And then when I would come back to post again, it would open up, and I would have to like clear out my notifications and, you know, reply to any things that were worth replying to, and then post again. And so like I never really scrolled the timeline because I was just like, I was kind of too busy either posting or responding. You know, like that was kind of it. I didn't really look at anyone else's stuff. Like I was really just like screaming into the void, and then people would scream back, and then I would scream back because sometimes that's fun. But you know, like I don't feel a danger of like, oh no, I'm going to scroll, because that was never my thing.
Okay.
It was, well, it's more,
you do scroll just the notifications.
Yes, I scroll the notifications.
Well, anyway, what I was getting at was I used to have it set up to where I could just shoot a text and then it would post on my Twitter.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I actually, now that you say that, I do have this app that can fire off posts for me, which for a while I was using to like, 1, cross post to different platforms, and 2, schedule my posts. So I'd be like, you know, I'm going to do this at this time. I'm going to post this video here. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. But I could just use it to have one directional posting.
Yeah.
Which maybe I'll do. I think I'll get there. I mean, again, right now, I think it's just a thing of like, I kind of want to feel a little invisible. I learned recently, and sorry to any of my friends who hear this, any of my friends that hear this, I don't mean you. Any of my friends who are recording this with me, I don't mean you. I realize I fucking hate content creators is the thing. Like I really just like by and large, I think I just don't like them. And I realized this because I was at this convention, which was surprisingly not a Magic convention. And I was only at the convention because like a friend was going there as a creator and he had a +1. And I was like, that sounds fun. So I went to California for a weekend, last weekend. And my friend, who is a much, 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 much bigger content creator than I have ever been or will ever be, was there. And like we were hanging out and I observed so many things that I think have always been true, even for Magic content creators, and just things I never noticed because I was like in the herd with Magic content creators. And so one thing I noticed was everyone is always networking. Everyone is, they're always on. They're always like, it has this like aura of like, what can I get from you? You know, like what can I extract out of you? How can I utilize you? How can I use you in this way that feels very gross to me? And again, I think this is also true for Magic content creators. I just never fully noticed it because I was also in there networking. But then two, and this was the thing that really struck me, is like me, my content creator friend, and like 5 random people would be hanging out. And it was as if I did not exist for like the whole time, which was fine, to be honest. I was literally just playing games on my phone while they were like talking about YouTube or whatever. But then he would say something about or to me. And then it was like all of the sudden they would all turn to me. And it's like I did exist for a minute. It felt like they went to hang out with him and he was like, I have an imaginary friend. And they were like, well, we don't want to like fuck up this connection. So let's just play along and be like, oh yeah, buddy, where's your little friend? Oh, right here. Hello. And then, you know, they're like, all right, fucking forget about that fake ass person. And then they would talk to him and be like, oh yeah, my imaginary friend said something like that recently. They'd be like, oh yeah, hey little fella, did you say something like that? You know, like that's how it felt. And it really like, again, it's not like I was like, oh, I want to be a part of this conversation and I'm not. It was more really just like, I would rather you guys pick a lane on if like I am a part of this conversation or not. Because I'm playing games on my phone. I'm content. I'm Jujutsu Kaisen, Phantom Parade. But then you all turn to look at me and it's like, oh, now I need to be on for like a second. And then like I can go back to Jujutsu Kaisen, Phantom Parade. And that something about that experience just made it all like kind of click for me. Or I was like, yeah, I get it. You know, like I'm not even trying to be like, fuck these people, you know, like I get it. I so understand that you're talking to this big YouTuber and you're a small to mid-sized YouTuber. I don't know why I'm talking about people like their cars. Like you're a mid-sized sedan trying to make it in this world. But you know, you are YouTubers of various size and you're just like, this might be the only chance that I get to talk to this guy, to network with this guy, whatever. I'm not faulting them for it. I just realized that I think it's gross and I hate it.
Yeah.
No,
the incentives are pretty fucked, to say the least, in a lot of ways like that. And you have people chasing like bigger number and whatever the hell else they feel like they need or would make them popular or cool. And it's just like,
yeah. And, you know, like, I don't know. As I reflected, this episode's really turning into very different things than what we set
It
out
is.
for, but that's fine. As I reflected on this, I realized that like all of the friends that I made in Magic content creation, you, Tori, you know, Bobby, Christine, Katie, like all these people, all the people that I would actually call my friends from content creation, are the people who my interactions with them, I was like, oh, you're like a person. You're like a person. You're like a human. You talk to me like we're both humans. You know, it was always the people who we didn't talk to each other in like a weird networky way, you know?
yeah.
And I never like held any, and I still don't. At no point have I ever held any like disdain or really any negative feelings for the people where it's like, oh, our relationship is more just like business, you know, like our really like we have a
I
friendly, sure, but you know,
I
like
have
we
plenty of disdain for those people.
I really don't like it's I don't know like I first of all I don't need to or want to be friends with every content creator, you know what I mean? So I think it's fine for like me to meet a person who does magic content and us to like talk and it just be like, oh, okay, we are just gonna have like a surface level, we both work in this space kind of relationship and we're gonna be friendly and you know maybe we'll like comment back and forth to each other online. If we end up working the same thing, we'll be cool and chill. You know, we are coworkers is really what it is. It is like a very coworker relationship. That's fine to me. You know, like that's not a big deal. I don't think I've ever been in a position, fortunately, where I have like wanted to be some content creator's friend and they have just given me like weird networking, haha, you know, like that kind of thing. Maybe that's not entirely true. Actually, as I said it, I realized it's not entirely true. I'm not going to name names, but it's definitely not true. But
Tell
yeah,
me
I don't
after.
know. I just think it sucks, and I just think, you know, again, it is a thing of as I really kind of step back and look at like where I have extracted joy is not like making content. Aside from this, I do enjoy doing this, but I also don't really. I know this like is content technically, but I don't consider it content creation because like I think really the distinction for me is we're not gamifying it at all. You know what I mean?
Nah.
Like we at no point in doing this have ever been like this will get us more listens or views or whatever. Like it really is just like we do the things we want to do and talk about the things we want to talk about because we want to.
Well, I gotta say this thing so we can make it into a short, and we gotta keep it under 25 minutes. And we need this kind of clickbaity. No,
we started this episode being like, this is going to be an episode where we talk about viewer questions, and we have not done a single one. We've been recording for 28 minutes and 48 seconds. You know, like we really just be out here doing whatever the fuck we want, and I love that.
I hope someone had some questions relating to like, hey, what's it like being friends with a famous person or whatever, you know?
I can make them up. Yeah, so that was the answer to our question. Thank you, Pill Knock, for sending in. What's it like?
Shout out Pill Knock.
What's it like? She did tell me because she was here last week, and she was like, if you ever have a thing that you want to answer on the podcast, but no one's asking the question, just say I sent it in. And I was like, that's great, but you know, people do be sending in questions. Now, this was a really bad way to set this up, but Pillknock did send in questions. And we are going to start there because she sent in a few. And I think it's a good way to get the ball rolling. Number one, Well, she starts the email with, "Hello, long-time listener, first-time asker. Question number 1. What is the process like to become a magic judge currently, and will this change that?" And then she links, I don't know if you saw this, that Hasbro posted a job thing that's like manager for the new judge program.
I saw that only because I recorded last night with Dave and he brought it up because he's like, "Oh, have you
Sure.
seen this stuff that has been happening on the internet?" And I was like, "Nah."
Wow. We're going
And then he
cross
just caught me
pod.
up on the news.
Wow. Oh man, I forgot cross pod is actually a term in Magic. That was such a good joke. And I didn't even mean to. Posting's in my blood, Jerry. But yeah, so basically new judge programs happening probably. To answer your question though, Pills, currently judging's a little weird. To become a judge, you basically have to take a test, like an exam. You have to pass that. I think you also have to have like, there has to be a judge who like sponsors you or like something like that. I feel like there's something like that. Does that sound right, Jerry?
I don't know how it works now. Back in the day, I don't know that you needed like a direct sponsor, but like certainly if you have a person kind of like Sherpaing you through the whole process, it is much easier. And
I think that's kind of what it is. Maybe you don't need one. I think it's just like very common that people have like I studied under this judge, you know?
Yeah.
But there are different levels of being a judge. You'll hear them as like L1, L2, level 1, level 2, L3, stuff like that.
L101, my.
That's right, level 101, my Zenin. You can't have her, she's mine. That's my Zenin. But yeah, so there's a test to just become a judge at all, become an L1. Then there are tests to get from L1 to L2, L2 to L3, stuff like that. And depending on what level of judge you are, what experience of a judge you are, you know, all these things dictate what opportunities you have as a judge. And if you're going to be the head judge, hello, Cat. If you're going to be the head judge or whatever. But that's the process. It's really just a matter of learn the rules, take a test about them, which is easier said than done. Question number 2 from Pills. You've talked about Pass to the Pro Tour before, but how many people enter at each level? How many people remain at each level? Like, how crazy is it that Jesse won an RC? And then a second part of this question is, do regional champions or Pro Tour champions or whatever tend to come from one country? Like, does the US dominate because it's our invention? Or is there some other country that's actually like really good at it?
Well, yes, the US tends to dominate. Yes, it was invented here, but also there is certainly a lot of motivation to give the US the most opportunities as well. And I don't know, not like fuck other places over necessarily. I think most people who are decision makers are like, they should be thankful for the opportunity, like whatever we give them, kind of thing. And I feel like we can't really answer that question because you see a lot of stuff where it's like, it really looks like there are a ton of talented players from, for example, South America, but they don't get a lot of opportunities, a lot of qualifications and stuff like that. And it's entirely possible, to me at least, where if they had an equal amount of opportunity, like they might just eclipse us. Because given the fact that they have like, 2 invites per season or whatever the hell it is, that number is probably pretty low, but they still have so much talent, and those players off and on tend to do pretty well on the pro tours and stuff. It's just like, I don't know, like why not support those regions where clearly there is a ton of talent coming out of them.
Yeah. So to to kind of answer the first part of Pill Knox question and also elaborate a little bit on what you just said. So the first stage of the path to getting to the Pro Tour is a regional championship qualifier, an RCQ. This is something you can play at your local level. So you can go to your local game store and participate in an RCQ. They'll have somewhere between like 10 and 15 a season or something like that. Usually they'll take place on the weekends. You'll go in, you'll play in a tournament. The size of an RCQ varies a bit from place to place, depending on the population of where you live. It could be as small as like 8 people. It could be as big as like, I don't know, 50, 60 people. I don't know if they get a whole lot bigger than that generally, but somewhere around there. And with RCQs, they are generally either what we will call 1 slaughters or 2 slaughters, which is the number of regional championship invitations they have. So if it's a 1 slaughter, only the person who comes in first gets an invite. If they're a 2 slaughter, first and second place get an invite. Once you have an invite to the regional championships, that is the next step on the way to the Pro Tour. This is the thing that Jesse won, is a regional championship. Regional championships, RCs, are very big, especially lately. I think the last couple have been like what, 1,500
Close
players?
to 2,000.
Close to 2,000, yeah.
Yeah.
Big events, and the top 32 of those events make the Pro Tour. The top 2 of those events qualify for Worlds. The Pro Tour is, the next biggest thing. These happen at Magic conventions a few times a year. There's like a $500,000 prize pool, which splits up among the players. It makes it to where like first place gets like 50 grand, second place gets 25, et cetera, et cetera. And then Worlds is like the hardest tournament to qualify for. Bigger prize pool, very small. This is the kind of thing about like the size of these events. RCQ's tiny. RC, very big. Pro Tour, small relatively. The Pro Tour, I mean, this last Pro Tour was 331 competitors, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
It's a big tournament. It's much smaller than an RC, but the thing is, it's 331 like absolute killers, right? Like it's 331 people who can qualify for a Pro Tour. And that's like the other thing is like the RC is like 2,000 people who can qualify for an RC. Whereas like an RCQ is 8 to 60 people who can show up to an LGS. Like it's different. Worlds, I don't even know the number on Worlds. 100, 200?
It is, the last one I looked at was like just over 100 people.
Yeah. So like 100 people, but like the best of the best players, because qualifying for Worlds is so fucking hard. And that's why it's so crazy that Jessie, who had never so much as qualified for a Pro Tour in her life, in one instant qualified for a Pro Tour, qualified for Worlds, and, won an entire fucking like 2,000 person tournament. That's nuts. That's incredible. And also, she didn't even win an RCQ to get here. She did a last chance qualifier the day before the event, flew out to play in like a mini tournament where it's like you have to win 5 in a row to even get to play tomorrow. So she started unqualified, 5-0'd her way into the event, and then won the event. It's sick. It's sick as fuck. But I say all that to say, when Jerry is talking about how people in South America get fewer invites, it's because they get fewer opportunities to qualify for something like the Pro Tour, because other countries have their own regional championships, and they happen at different rates, and they have different amount of invites. They're just generally a little different than ours, but they funnel into these same Pro Tours. So, the 331 players at MagicCon Las Vegas a month ago came from all over the world, but predominantly the US, because we have the most chances to get people into the Pro Tour.
It's also more likely now that it seems like, I don't know, most, if not all of the Pro Tours are happening in the US, that if you do qualify, like there is a chance that you may not try as hard to qualify if you live in a different country, or if you do qualify, you might just not go because it's too expensive or takes too much time or whatever. So
right. Or you're afraid you're going to
angle.
get like fucking held at the airport or whatever, you know, like.
Yeah, there's that too, which is
there's a lot of reasons why like people from other countries right now are not like super excited about coming to our Pro Tours. But then I don't know. I mean, like Jerry said, there's a bunch of people in like South America. There's a bunch of Canadians. Japan's full of killers and sickos. You know, there's people all over. There's people all over who, you know, I mean, some players that people would have in the conversation of like best player in the world are not from the US. In fact, I would probably say most players who people would have in the conversation for best player in the world are not from the US.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, that is like ebbed and flowed over the years. I think like US was fairly dominating for a while, and then we hard fell off. Like France was crushing it for a bit, Japan was crushing it for a while, and US was also just kind of embarrassing. And then there was sort of a resurgence in the earlier or the late 2000s, I guess. And then the best player in the world, it's maybe like 30 to 40% of the time is like an American, but
yeah, which is crazy for it to be that low, given like we are like so serviced. Like it is so easy to be an American Magic player.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's not like 70% of the time the best player is American is a very, I don't know, interesting indication, I think.
I mean, Paulo was one of the people who was like the best player in the world, pretty much agreed upon. And he's from Brazil and has all these incredible accomplishments, double-digit Grand Prix top eights. I think might have cracked 20, or is at least like close to that or something, and double-digit Pro Tour top eights as well. And every time he went to a Grand Prix, it was basically like attached to a different tournament that he was going to in the US. So it was like, oh, if I'm going to a Pro Tour, I'll try to take as much time off to go to this Grand Prix like before and maybe a Grand Prix after or something. And this is like 20 hours of travel time and all this stuff. Yeah. Like I played seasons where I played 20 GPs a season, you know, and he was playing like 5 a year and has that kind of numbers.
Speaking of competitive Magic, before I get to Pilnock's next question, because as we talked about last time, we're starting on Baby Girl's path to the Pro Tour. I'm Baby Girl. That wasn't clear. And at the time of this releasing, I'll be 2 days away from my first standard RCQ since we've made this decision. And Jerry, I have a very important question for you, which is, did you see the deck list I see?
Isn't it pre-release weekend?
Well, okay, so this weekend is pre-release weekend.
Oh,
the weekend of this episode coming out is going to be, so August 2nd. I'll be attending.
I did see the deck you sent me. I was thinking about it. I have many thoughts.
I would love, so okay, I built what I think is going to be a sick post-rotation standard deck that I'm calling Space Frogs, because it kind of hinges on Helga. That's her name, right? Helga?
Yeah.
Helga. Whatever. The fucking blue frog. The 2-mana blue frog. Those 2 creatures. And then a bunch of warp creatures and overlords. So you like cheat in these creatures, you draw cards off Helga gets bigger, cheats in more creatures. You can you can use her ability to pay the warp cost because it's an alternative casting cost. And she still gets the buff. It's so sick, Jerry.
I like the idea.
Yeah.
You only have 4 of this card, and the rest of your deck does nothing unless you have this card in play.
I don't think that's true. I think because I goldfished it like crazy today. And obviously goldfishing only gets you so far. But a lot of the times where I didn't have it, I just draw through so much of my deck so fast. And it's still just like ramping and cheating shit out. It's still good. Maybe it's like a scroll shift type thing. Maybe that's the missing sauce. I don't know.
Unfortunately, rotating.
Is it rotating?
Yeah.
What the hell? What set was scroll shift in?
I can send. I made a list of like cards that are rotating. Let me send you this.
I don't know. I can't get Scryfall to load. I guess I can. Scroll shift. Okay, Scryfall's just being very slow right now. We'll figure it out later.
It was in March of the Machines.
Wow, that's crazy. Give me Ephemerate. I can be trusted.
Oh, okay.
But I just love it because it's basically it's beans in a world where they have outlawed beans. Which after seeing Warp, I'm like, yeah, good fucking call. Good call banning beans and standard right before printing Warp.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's
It'd be
silly.
Fucking gross, yeah. Especially because they're addicted to printing 5 mana kill spells that get discounted for some reason or another. It's like they cannot stop.
No, they can't.
Like there's someone at Wizards of the Coast with like a gun to the designers being like, print another one. And they just keep doing it.
They need to turn the gun around and just be like, drop it, put it down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit, it is March of the Machines. It's crazy. Okay. But anyways, well, it's just that's when finally my Scryfall search loaded. So then I saw it with my own eyes. But anyways, a couple days from you listening to this, I have played my first standard RCQ, and we'll surely be talking about it a couple episodes from now.
Hell yeah.
So that brings me to Pillnock's next question, which is, I've noticed my friends who have other card game experience, like Pokemon Pocket or Marvel Snap, pick up Magic no problem. They ask great questions, they understand most concepts without direct explanation, and they have interesting perspectives and strategies as a result. Are there any games, card or otherwise, that you think would build up a good base knowledge for someone learning Magic?
Good.
I was just gonna say, I think it's an interesting question because so many card games are so influenced from Magic.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a reverse thing, right? Like a lot of them will help because they are informed by it.
Yeah, I definitely think that's true, especially like modern mobile-ish games, you know? Mm-hmm. I think Poker and Hearthstone are the two that were the most translatable, both back and forth. But that was mostly when I was diving into more higher level strategy stuff for like Hearthstone and Poker. But I think if you play casually, maybe it doesn't help all that much. I don't know.
I bet it's a thing of like, if you play Hearthstone casually, that helps a good deal. But if you play Poker casually, it probably does not help very much. Whereas if you play Poker extremely competitively, then like a lot of stuff you're going to pick up quickly. But like, I think if you're playing I think if you're playing Poker at a high level, you're just going to pick up most things, like most games quickly, because like you have to have such like foundational knowledge of so much of like how this shit works.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas like with
So
Hearthstone, even if you're a casual player, you can have picked up like, oh, this is mana, this is attacking, this is, you know, like that kind of stuff.
yeah. I think in terms of like learning Magic from scratch, if you've played Hearthstone, yeah, a lot of the stuff is super similar. Marvel Snap, not really similar at all. And a lot of the stuff that might translate from like Magic to Hearthstone, where it's like, oh, you know, card advantage is kind of good or whatever. It's like that mostly doesn't matter in Snap. Like Snap does a lot of very weird things.
Yeah, it's like, I think if you play again, I think if you play any game seriously, any card game seriously, you're going to observe and pick up things that are going to be extremely helpful in learning Magic. And, you know, just as how like again, Magic has influenced like every card game that has come after it to some degree or another. And oh shit, he's got the scroll shifts. For our audio listeners, Jerry has picked up 3 scroll shifts from God knows where and placed them in front of the camera.
Can we hear this?
Oh, we can hear it big time.
Okay.
It's
I didn't know if my mic would pick it up or cancel it, but
well, let me see if mine will. I've also
so now it feels like you're in the tournament hall, you know?
Okay, now I'm doing it too.
Yeah. Yep.
Now we got to do it at the same time. Ready? Wow, that's a Magic tournament. But yeah, Magic has influenced Magic has influenced every card game that's come after it. And I think what's interesting about that is you can kind of see, like if you just look at like card games over time, you can see the moments where a card game did something well enough or uniquely enough that it then started to like have major influence for some period of time. You know, like there's Magic, all these games that look and feel a lot like Magic. Hearthstone comes out very clearly, heavily inspired by Magic, but does enough unique and different things, takes advantage of its platform, does all this shit. And then we end up having like all these games that are like direct descendants of Hearthstone, right? And all these games that are like all of that. Slay the Spire, you know, very clearly, I mean, pulls inspiration from a lot of places, but like a lot of Magic influence still there. And then once
Slay the Spire ripped off Dream Quest. So
I know you've told me about this before. I believe you, but Dream Quest did not get wildly popular. Slay the Spire did.
No, but the person who made Dream Quest now works for Blizzard. So,
oh, that's sick. Good for them. But you know, after Slay the Spire was massively successful, we start seeing all of these card games and just roguelites in general that are like direct descendants of Slay the Spire, and they like wear that on their sleeve. Like you're seeing like the same kind of like map layout. You're seeing like all this stuff. At this convention that I was talking about earlier, that I was at last weekend, I went up to some guy's booth who was like, Hearthstone meets Pokemon Go. And I was like, that sounds kind of sick. And I walked up. I'll tell you, Jerry, it was not that sick. It was not very sick. But I was fucking around on the UI and I saw, you know, like the arrow that Slay the Spire uses? That's like this weird, like bendy, like accordion that like stretches around, which I, for one, think is one of the worst design pieces of that game. And Slay the Spire is like my favorite game. I think the little fucking arrow that they do is dog shit. I think someone should have let that one cook a little longer. So I pull out that arrow, and first of all, immediately I'm like, okay, Slay the Spire. And as I'm like doing stuff, he's like, yeah, if you've ever played Slay the Spire. And I was like, yeah, I realized your inspiration source as soon as I saw this fucking arrow. Don't worry, buddy. Like, I know where you're pulling this from. But, you know, all of these, like, descendants. And then, like, Balatro comes out, you know? which has some Slay the Spire influence, but is different and unique enough that now there's all these like Balatro games that are like score games, like all this. I don't know. So just like it just, trickles and shifts and changes, but being good at any of those is going to give you stuff that translates to Magic. Even if you get all the way into like fucking Balatro, which is so far removed from being influenced by Magic, but still like play a good amount of Balatro, and I'm going to be able to use that to like translate for you.
Yep. I agree with all that.
Then Pilnock has a question of what are all the paid in-store events called? Store championships, whatever standard thing we played. We went to an FNM pre-release. There's so many. And basically her question is, what the fuck are all the events? Which is a great question because Wizards does not really do a great job of explaining.
Neither do stores.
This neither do stores. Yeah, no,
they're just stores. Like, come to our store champs, and you just expect me to know what the hell that means. But like,
you have to be really in the know to understand.
Yeah, but that's not what their audience is.
Yeah, of course.
That's not who they should be catering to. It should be like, hey, we're having this event. It is called Store Championships. This is what it is.
Yeah. So to give you the quickest, easiest rundown I can, there are free events, which are not going to have any prizing and are mostly just like, if you want to come to the LGS and play, we're going to loosely be facilitating you doing that. But mostly it's just going to be like, it's up to you. So when you see stuff like Commander Night, that's what that is. And really it's just like, we're giving you a space to socially gather. That's it. Generally it's free. There's not really any prize support. Maybe at one point someone from the LGS will walk around and give you all a free booster pack or whatever. Unlikely, but it does happen. Then you start to get into paid events. The easiest and cheapest of these is going to be FNM, Friday Night Magic, which FNM is a Magic playing tradition that goes back a very long time. I don't know when FNM started, but
FNM was a thing before it was called FNM.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Like it is so rooted in tradition just because, I don't know, stores wanted to have events and like Friday was the best day because, sure, it's not a school night or whatever.
Yeah.
And this was just a normal thing. And at some point Wizards was just like, oh, we should just make this a thing. And it's like, yeah, good job. Everyone else already has. And even if it's not really called FNM anymore, like that is the official name for it. And people still call it that,
Yeah. So FNM is technically a paid event, but it's not going to be much. It's going to be like $10, to play in an FNM, maybe less, depending on where you're at. It will have prizes, which is usually just a little bit of store credit, maybe some booster packs, some combination thereof. But the prizes are not really big enough to attract the sharks, But that's also like FNM is such a mixed bag. Because some nights you're going to go to FNM and it's just going to be a bunch of people who are super new to Magic. Sometimes you're going to go to FNM. The FNM we went to, because we did like a day trip to Seattle. We were barely there. We were mostly just there to see Carmen, who is a game designer at Wizards of the Coast and incredibly talented Magic player. Mm-hmm. Other people who were there were like Ben White's, Abe Corrigan, Sky, all of these like WotC designers / pro players who, are just there because it's fun and they can't play in big events because they're WotC designers. But that's FNM, right? Like some nights it can be a bunch of new people. Some nights it can be like, oh yeah, I made this card and have been playing with it for way longer than you. Like I had this game against Abe where I was playing this really janky blue-white control deck because I had built decks for like 5 different people for this FNM. And so by the time I got to building my own deck, it was just like blue-white cards that Nile has left. And, it was not a good blue eye control deck. I did win a match, which was awesome. But, I just like blue eye control. But anyways, in this game against Abe, I go turn 1, Flood Farm, Verge. Turn 2, Flood Farm, Verge, because I didn't have a better choice. He Deep Cavern bats me, looks at my hand, sees 2 deduces, takes some other card, whatever, passes to me. I go to my turn, and he's like, aren't you going to deduce at the end of my turn? And I said, I can't. I got 2 Verge lands. These just tap for white. Yeah. And he goes, oh, I would blame the person who designed that card. And then he kind of smiled at me, and I kind of smiled at him, because we both knew he fucking designed that shit.
The Verges?
Yeah.
Yeah. Majors claim credit for those, so I don't know.
I think it was a team effort. We'll see.
I'll get to the bottom of it.
Get to the bottom. Let me know. But it's just funny. But yeah, so FNM's a mixed bag. Then you get into like RCQs. There are things like Store Champs, which does not have a monetary prize technically, but does have if you win, you get a promo that's usually worth hundreds of dollars. So that does attract the sweats usually. So I would not play in that unless you're like wanting to compete. Anything
or if your
Store
store
Champs
is really soft.
Or if your store is really soft, which honestly, knowing where Pilnock lives, it probably is. But anything above Store Champs, if you're not looking for like competitive Magic, don't waste your time and money. Regional Championship qualifiers. I don't know. There's probably other events, but like, whatever. It's.
Yeah,
for the most part, if you just want to play some Magic, I would say go to FNM.
Yeah, the weekly events tend to be like more casual stuff that happens on the weekend, or maybe like a step or two above that in terms of like RCQs and Store Champs just being a little bit more try hard because there are actual prizes on the line that people care about. But you just show up for like Wednesday night draft or something, like that is probably the best entry.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it, is separating it up by days of the weeks. Those are all the Pilnock questions. Thank you, Pilnock, for sending those in. Our next question is going to come from @0chaos on YouTube, saying, have either of you played Inscription? Lots of cool card game design stuff shown off in there. It might be the best card game experience I've ever had in a video game.
I think Jerry? This is like a Slay the Spire thing.
You don't like Inscription?
Oh, I've not played it. Someone was talking to me about it though. It might have been Gottlieb.
Inscription. I have played Inscription. I beat Inscription. I played Inscription in one sitting. It took like 12 hours, but it was like I couldn't put it down kind of thing.
Is it Slay the Spire?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to tell you much about Inscription, to be honest.
I'm not going to play it.
Okay. Fair point. Okay, so it starts off as a card game. Okay, pause, Warriors. If you don't want Inscription spoilers, I would probably just close the video now. You've already listened for like an hour. We love and appreciate you. You've done a great job. The analytics love you. You can leave.
The game's been out for a while. They could be spoiled.
Yeah, for sure. So Inscription's a very interesting game because it starts off as a card game, basically. And it's kind of this like roguelike card game kind of vibe. But it's like you keep sort of like adding to and changing your deck, and it's almost like a legacy game, the way you like alter cards what seems like permanently. And then they start to kind of like pull back away from that a bit and reveal more of the almost like horror game elements to it, where you start to like step away from that game And now you're like walking around inside of like the cabin in which you are playing this little card game. And you're sort of like solving these little puzzles, almost like it's an escape room inside this game. And then you're going back to the card game and you kind of shuffle between the two of these. And then it turns into like found footage horror where you see like you find these like old tapes of the guy who made Inscription. And it's like him finding the card game and like being like, oh, I don't know where this booster pack came from. And like opening it up and it like, you know, releases these curses or whatever the fuck, you know, but it's like, it's footage of him like in front of a green screen. Like he's like he has a YouTube channel and he's like trying to be like a card game YouTuber. And then it turns into like multiple different games. Cause like, it's no longer the game that you started with. You start playing like this other game that's like totally different. It's like pixel graphics and like, it's almost like a like JRPG type of deal. And then like you just keep going into like these more and more like weird and twisted games. At one point, you are straight up playing like you're like 3D characters with like Yu-Gi-Oh dual discs, and you're like summoning like Yu-Gi-Oh monsters. It's so fucking sick. And the whole time you are just like unraveling the mystery of like what the fuck is happening and like the origin of these cards and all this stuff. It's really cool. It's a very cool, very unique gaming experience. Again, I sat down and played Inscription start to finish with a friend. It took like 12 hours. We finished it like, we didn't realize, we thought we were going to be like, oh, let's play a couple hours of Inscription and we'll hang out again and play some more. And we got done at like 6 a.m. You know, like we just like kept going. I love Inscription. They at one point did a physical release of a booster pack of Inscription cards. I still have that booster pack. Never opened it, never will, because it's not like random what's in it. Like, you know what's in it, so why the fuck would I open it, you know?
So
but I think just having a booster pack of it, oh my god, that feels so good. Feels so good. But I don't know, maybe someday I will. But,
that sounds like I would hate it, and it sounds like a thing that everyone would love, and it also sounds like that guy just was on mushrooms for a weekend.
Yeah, it's got that vibe. You would hate it. You would hate it because it is just like games.game, you know?
Yeah.
But I love Inscription. Inscription fucking rips. So I hope that answers your question, Zero Chaos. Some of the games in Inscription do suck, but you kind of just power through it. Okay, our next question comes from Merfolk Sovereign on Blue Sky. It says, how do you view standard bans when they happen? Are there specific design mistakes with cards? Were they slight misses, mistakes in the entire design philosophy, or something else entirely?
It's generally one of those. Yeah. Sometimes it can check multiple boxes, but I don't know, like it varies. Sometimes it's just like, oh, this thing was not intended to do this thing. Like, for example, Felidar Guardian Saheeli Rai. That was just a combo that got missed. And I think that Felidar Guardian otherwise would have been a pretty fun and pretty sweet card, you know? But
I'm growing concerned that this is a question I've already asked us before. But I'm honestly not sure, because I think it's also just very tangential to things we've discussed multiple times.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
whatever, it's been asked again regardless.
Yeah. Like when it happens as a player, I'm just like, okay, new content, you know, and I try to not delve on it too much because like my armchair quarterbacking does very little in terms of like, oh, what happened here?
Yeah. To me, it's just a thing of like designing Magic cards is fucking impossible. It's an impossible task. It's impossible, like with the release schedule, to catch some, you know, of the combos and bullshit that can occur. It's impossible to determine what the meta is going to look like. You know, like it's so hard that like anytime it happens, I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, like it's crazy that we don't have more Nadus happening. You know, like it's
yeah.
It's honestly a testament that there's not more of that shit going on.
Yeah, and it doesn't just extend to like balancing the cards either. Like, they're one of the news things that Dave caught me up on was the fight card that was like a Doom Blade that had to get errated.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like editing mistakes happen too. You know, like there's just so much stuff. And I was in the building. I worked there. Like there were moments where cards like that would get pretty far along in playtesting before someone would catch them, just because you read target creature gets +1/+0 and does damage equal to his power, and your brain just sort of auto completes it. So like, yeah, it says target creature you control. It just obviously it says that, and like
and everyone checking it makes that same auto complete in their head.
Yeah, and no one during limited playtesting is like, oh, I'll just use this, you think, and fight itself or whatever.
Yes, the card Jerry is referring to, I had to look it up because I couldn't remember the name. Diplomatic Relations. It is 2 and a green. The text as written in print on the card is target creature gets +1/+0 and gains vigilance until the turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature and opponent controls. So the thing that makes that really funny is you don't need to have a creature in play to, you know, oh, you've got a 4/4. Sorry, it kills.
It's going to make diplomatic relations with itself.
It's going to diplomatically relate itself. So they day 0 eroded it. It's supposed to say target creature you control gets +1/+0 and then deals damage target creature and opponent controls.
Walking Atlas was not an artifact creature. It just said creature.
Oh my god.
The Monarch thing says at the beginning of end step or something. It's like missing a the.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, there's just all sorts of errors happen. And once they are in production, that's just how they are.
Yep.
You know, like that's just what it is. We can errata them. But you know, the kitchen table magic people, they're going to be like, diplomatic relations is crazy. And I love that for them.
And it's kind of the same thing with Beanstalk. You know, it's this card seems fine. You know, we're just playing Sunfalls and whatnot. And then you keep trying to make cards that cost cheaper. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, okay, this is getting sort of out of hand. And maybe we didn't really figure out the Zur stuff and, you know, whatever. It's just like, that ends up being a mistake. But with the information they had at the time, you could ship it as is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, our last question in this mailbag episode that started as a Jujutsu Kaisen
I can't wait to play.
Content creator opinion. I can't wait for you to play. I think of all the people I've given my code to, you're the only one who's gonna have any ROI for me. I think you're the only person who has any potential of doing any of the missions. But our final question, of course, must come from Briar.
Yes.
Thank you, Briar.
I was getting worried.
As always. Oh no, save the best for last, Jerry. Briar's question is, what changed, if it's known to the public at all, with magic foils that results in current day cards being so prone to bending? Old foils seem to do a solid job at retaining shape, but is that just from the materials being physically older and having time to chill? I remember some bend when I started in 2009, but it feels like they've gotten worse overall.
I did a very autistic deep dive on this a couple months ago, actually.
Oh, go off, King.
Nora just tried to jump on me. Like when I was leaning back, she's like my 15-pound cat and just plopped my lap. That was the OMG. I don't remember all of this, but I do know that this basically has to do with how magic cards are printed and the fact that there are not a lot of printers that just exist in the world. And some of them have gone out of business. Some of them have burned down. And there have been on and off times where getting like cards printed is kind of difficult because, you know, these places are not necessarily that big, or there's like supply chain stuff, or now there are just a lot of card games that are trying to book these places, you know, and you may want to do a certain thing to your card, but like maybe this other game used up all of their whatever special gloss or something. So Anyway, there's a lot of stuff that goes into this. I'm sure if Wizards had the choice, like they would just have a printer that did it. But like it is way easier for them to have printers in different sections of the world and then have those distribute the cards out than to print them in one centralized location, which would, take more time and then also more time to like ship it to China or something. So these printers, if there's one in the States and one in Europe and one in Asia, they're not all going to have the same process or anything. And that's why, like, somewhat recently, the Japanese cards that I would get, like, I could not Sharpie on them. They were too glossy.
Yeah.
So it is all just like a printer thing. And I believe that has changed what the foiling process is too. And like what Wizards is able to do for their foils and whatnot. But it's also kind of weird because there's like this Mox Opal secret lair that was like foil, but the weird foil that people don't like.
There's so many weird foils that people don't
like. Not Surge, not Fracture. I have a Force of Negation. That is it. But
are you talking about the etched foil?
Yeah, etched foil. Yeah,
I love etched foil. People don't like etched.
I think etched is okay. And I especially like it because it doesn't
on the card.
It doesn't curve as bad either.
Yeah.
So like what the hell? Like in terms of like thickness too. It's like I have this Mox Opal and I feel like I could play it in a deck with 59 non-foil cards because it feels thin and it's not curvy and it's like, I don't know, just do that to all your stuff. That'd be great. But even then we would still probably run into situations where it's like, okay, well now the US foils don't curve, but like the Japanese ones do.
Yeah, well, that's a thing too, is older cards that do curve differently. Like they curl differently than modern cards do. Like they will curl like in a convex kind of way.
I feel like old card is like not Pringle. Modern card is like Pringle.
Yeah.
This is a Tyvar. Doing a little bend test on my boy Tyvar.
Yeah. But also, like you mentioned the Sharpie thing with the Japanese cards, but I feel like in general, at least recently, I've noticed the cards that come from the Japanese printer feel more consistent and better quality than what I notice out of the American printers. Or
that's
elsewhere printers.
Honestly, it might be because there are two printers in America, or some of it is coming over from Europe too.
Sure. But also, if you're listening along and you've ever opened a Magic pack and you've been like, what the heck? Why is the rare in front on this one? Or if you've ever wondered, how come sometimes a booster pack has like a little slit that I can like tear the thing and sometimes it doesn't? These are printer differences.
Yep.
And the little slit, the rare in front, these are Japanese printer indicators. And also like it just sets it on the thing where it was printed. But I don't know. I just feel like when I get cards from Japanese printers, it's like when I stack them all up, they look uniform.
Yes.
And when I get them from the other printers and I stack them all up, it often, I'm like, it looks like I got these from 4 different sets, or like 4 different boxes. And it's crazy. It's crazy the differences between these different printers.
Well, sometimes there's just like a card that's a little bit taller, or a little bit wider. And it's just like,
yes. What the fuck is up?
Oh, printers aren't uniform, That's just how it is.
Yeah. So, Briar, I think ultimately the answer to your question is printers have changed over time. But also, I think when people say older cards don't curl, I think there's a lot of like selective memory happening there. Because I definitely have some old cards that are foil and are perfectly flat. And I've definitely got some old cards that are foil that are curled in some way, or, just like tough to use competitively. And so I think sometimes people will remember the times, you know, where they were playing, and they'll remember their old foils that aren't curled, and they'll be like, this didn't used to be a problem. It's like, it did. Oh, what do we have here? Jerry is presenting what looks to be a pretty fucked up little card.
No, it's 2 cards, and I'm
Okay.
trying to get it to like focus in, but it won't really. But it is 2 ether channelers, and one of them is slightly taller than the other.
That's so crazy. So crazy. Judge?
And yeah, they're both DMU, you know, like I don't know.
Nuts. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Briar. Thank you once again for sending it. Thank you everyone who sent in questions. Sorry, we would have got to more of them if I was not yapping about Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade. Download it on your phone today. Hashtag not sponsored, but do want you to use my friend code, which I did put in the description. Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade, Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade, Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade. That's gonna, I don't know how the algorithm works, but I think if you say Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade enough times, it pushes your video.
My Zenin.
If you get a SSR My Zenin on your Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade, do not add me as a friend. I don't want to see her on anyone else's phone.
Yeah, delete your account.
Delete your account, start over, get someone else. Get a Gojo. I don't have a Gojo yet. I don't have any of the characters who could do domain expansion. And I keep getting these missions where they're like, special circumstance on this mission, no domain expansion. And I'm like, okay, great.
I ain't got none of them anyway. My just got +1 bullet. That's it.
Bang, bang, bang. That's going to be great for the algo. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to this long one. And come back next week when we talk about what we talk about next week. Bye. Love you.